where teams are right now. Right before the season, everybody's pissing and moaning. We had a different coach come up and give a motivational speech in the afternoon each day. He was our running backs coach at the time by the name of Derek Foster. Coach Foster came up there, toughness and pushing through. He got real razzed up as his speech progressed. We had a video coordinator named Rocky. He finishes his speech and he goes, "Hit it, Rock!" And Set It Off by Boosie Badass played. As a young white man, it was my first time hearing that song, Set It Off. Yeah, we finna set it off. You heard me? I'm finna put you in the trash bag. Tired of all these knowing me right now, for real. You wanna talk shit? You wanna run your mouth? You want some gangster strut your motherfucking house? We'll set this job. Yeah. And that was my first time hearing Set It Off. At Samford University, it was the third or fourth week of camp. We were about where teams are right now. Right before the season, everybody's pissing and moaning. We had a different coach come up and give a motivational speech in the afternoon each day. He was our running backs coach at the time by the name of Derek Foster. Coach Foster came up there, toughness and pushing through. He got real razzed up as his speech progressed. We had a video coordinator named Rocky. He finishes his speech and he goes, "Hit it, Rock!"
It is so damn good to be back, guys. What up? We back on In the Jar. Babe, wake up. New In the Jar just dropped. You know what I mean? We had a lot of games going down over Christmas. A lot of stuff going on over Christmas. A lot of things that we've got to talk about today. The AFC North comes down to one Week 18 game this Sunday. Ravens, Steelers. We'll talk about what led up to that. You got the real contenders in the NFC being the 49ers. We'll talk about that. 49ers are the clear path to the number one seed. They got Seattle, Week 18. We've come to that time of the year where games are either completely meaningless, feel like preseason games. I'm talking Bengals, Cardinals. Or you got pretty much one game every slate from here on that has some semblance, I shouldn't even say some semblance, a big implication. You got one game per slate. We had, let's see, how many games of significance? 0 over Christmas. Really only one team in 3 games all of Christmas Day that have any sort of playoff chances. You had the Texans and the Chargers play on Saturday, the 27th. A lot of people don't understand why NFL games happen on Saturdays late in the year. It's because there's no college football to really contend with it. We had the Pop-Tart Bowl. That's been a hit on social media. I'm tempted to talk a bit about the Pop-Tart Bowl and how Notre Dame declined to be in such a cool game, because it was all the rage there for a second. You got the Pop-Tart Bowl quarter zip, sleeveless edition, the vest. Quarter zip vest, dude. You talk about primo SEC burnerverse lore. The sleeveless quarter zip. The Pop-Tart Bowl sleeveless quarter zip with the sprinkles on it. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all know, man. The Pop-Tart Bowl been wildly successful. We're going to read some numbers here in a little bit. Some numbers. Bore you guys a little bit. I got you for about 23 minutes on this show here today. We got a lot to unpack. But the Pop-Tart Bowl was going on. Bowl viewership as a whole is down about 7% year over year. Lane Kiffin leaves the Texas Bowl. LSU ends up losing to Houston. The Houston Cougars handed LSU yet another loss. And you got people in the media saying that we got to set bowls aside, that we shouldn't give a participation trophy to teams in college football that go 500. And I say, F that. I love bowl games. It's a nostalgic thing for me. I grew up watching Kentucky Wildcats football, man. You're telling me a 6-6 season in the big deal? Go kiss my ass. Those are all I saw growing up watching Kentucky football year in and year out. 6-6, to me, that still deserves a bowl berth. I don't give a shit. Okay? I have no logic to protect that take. I'm simply relying on nostalgia. That's it. You got media people saying 6-6 ain't good enough. It might not be. But I like it. I like the Pop-Tart Bowl. You know, I think the Pop-Tart Bowl is reserved more for programs that went, 8-4, maybe 9-3, or we might be getting into Outback Bowl territory. You guys remember the Outback Bowl? I'm telling you, man, these damn naming rights sponsors on these bowl games are rotating like a revolving door. Ain't no Outback no mo. Ain't no Outback Bowl no mo, man. Ain't no Cheez-It Bowl no mo, man. You got the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And boy, did it live up to the hype. At least the clips I saw, you got all these crazy strudels dancing on top of life-size toasters going down into the toaster. You got BYU's head coach. Can't remember his name. It's something Pacific Island. Gnawing on Pop-Tarts. An endless supply after the game. I can't imagine what kind of Pop-Tart timeless memorabilia the players and coaches of either program were able to get their hands on. I know there was a bowl game that I guess for the first time in college football history had a naming rights sponsor that was a headphone company. I'm trying to pull up the name here, but apparently any player that participated, I need to find it. It's in this email with a lot of words in it, but there's a naming rights sponsor. What bowl is it, man? Help me out here. Let's see. I'll just go ahead and read you guys this, okay? Revenue from bowl games. You got, okay, let's just read it. The Camping World kickoff game held in September 2023 between Florida State and LSU. I'm trying to find a good spot to start reading. God. The biggest difference was in ticket revenue with bowl games, a sign that matchups have an effect and could lead to fluctuations in future financial outcomes. The Pop-Tart Bowl reported $3 million in ticket sales for the December 2023 game between Kansas State and NC State that drew about 31,000 fans. The prior year's iteration of the game, called the Cheez-It Bowl, drew more than 61,000 and reported $5.9 million in ticket sales. The cited numbers do not include either 2024 or 2025 iterations of the Pop-Tart Bowl, which has grown a cult-style following, particularly among the sport's internet-native fans who have latched onto the event's edible mascot, its toaster top trophy, and its sprinkle lime field. Listen, the toaster on the Pop-Tart Bowl actually works. It's a real toaster. I don't remember where I heard that. I'm not trying to spread disinformation. That's just what I heard. You saw
These are kind of the numbers we were talking about, and then we'll get into talking about last night's game a bit. We still got about 20 minutes. 12 of the 23 non-college football playoff bowls contested to this point have witnessed an attendance decrease year over year. This is God, spit everywhere. Sports Business Journal, who notes the composite decline is 7.24%. That is bowl game attendance from, and I'm not going to read those big-ass numbers. The largest year-over-year drop was based almost entirely on team matchup geography, with the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl held in Tampa dropping from 41,000 for last year's matchup between Florida and Tulane to just 13,000 for this year's game between NC State and Memphis. The Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, that happened on Saturday, between Penn State and Clemson in Yankee Stadium, witnessed the largest year-over-year attendance increase at an increase of 11,000. So that's interesting. It's completely based on the matchup, and I guarantee you the people planning these bowl games, I don't know who selects them, if it's a independent committee of the college football playoff or not. They definitely are taking that into account. They're definitely seeing those numbers. And there's something else juicy in here. Notre Dame football head coach Marcus Freeman has reportedly turned down a pair of NFL head coaching opportunities to remain with the Fighting Irish. That's via Pat Forty of Sports Illustrated. The deal terms have remained undisclosed, but the school confirmed that Freeman had agreed to a restructured contract that adds more than 1 year to the end, extending him through 2031. We're talking about Marcus Freeman, the guy that literally paints on his hairline, literally declines to play in the coolest bowl game ever conceived of in the Pop-Tart Bowl. Okay? You're talking about Marcus Freeman here. Notre Dame fans talking about it being an embarrassment to play in the Pop-Tart Bowl. Who in the hell do you think you are? You get to eat an endless supply of Pop-Tarts after the game, maybe before if you're feeling dangerous. The trophy is literally a working toaster. But Notre Dame fans feel like they're above that. They were promised a college football playoff berth 3,000 years ago. There's more in here, but it's just, I wish you guys could see this email. It's so much good juice. So much data. There's so many words and numbers. My brain is struggling to compute it. Anything else? We talked about bowl games. We talked about the Pop-Tart Bowl. Here's what I was talking about. Birmingham Bowl. That's down there at maybe UAB Stadium. Something like that. First sound-powered bowl, courtesy of audio brand J-Lab. According to SBJ, Sports Business Journal, student-athletes will select their own celebration soundtracks with touchdowns and turnovers triggering a celebration hit that fires up a 15,000-watt speaker wall in the end zone to play the student-athlete's chosen song. For scoring a touchdown or causing a turnover, student-athletes will earn bowl-exclusive J-Lab XL Golds wearable speaker headphones valued at $4,000 and not sold anywhere. While each celebration hit will also donate $5,000 to Children's Miracle Network. It's pretty cool. So that's kind of the rundown there. Obviously, the game last night between the 49ers and the Bears, that was a stunner. That was a fun one where neither defense seemed like they could get a stop. And I think Chris Collinsworth put it really well talking about the playoffs. The whole playoff picture has really crystallized. Really the only two uncertainties in the NFL playoffs after, we got the conclusion of Week 17 this evening between who's playing. I'm gonna hit myself in the head. It's the Rams and the Falcons, and so tonight's game, in the context of the NFC South between the Rams and the Falcons, actually has some playoff implications, and I'll tell you why. If Atlanta is able to win out, they're able to win their last two games, that will confirm a Carolina Panthers division championship in the NFC South. If Atlanta was to lose to the LA Rams tonight, like I think most of the public, most reasonable, logical people would guess that the LA Rams will handle the Atlanta Falcons tonight. It is the league, but if the Rams beat the Atlanta Falcons tonight, then on Saturday, the Panthers will square off against the Buccaneers for the NFC South championship. If the Falcons find a way to win their last two games, that Panthers-Buccaneers game will be rendered meaningless, and the Panthers will win the NFC South by default. Don't think the Falcons will win out. So if that's the case, then the Panthers-Buccaneers game this Saturday, January 3rd, will be a big deal. The winner of that game will win the NFC South. The Buccaneers at 7-9 right now, they are in a hole deeper than hell. They are in a mental torture chamber. They just lost to the Dolphins yesterday, 20-17. I feel like they've lost 5 of their last 6, maybe 6 of their last 7. We had Baker Mayfield in MVP discussions early, mid part of the year. Now you got Todd Bowles cussing up a storm in press conferences. I can't imagine what the presser yesterday was like for Todd Bowles. How do you pull together a squad that is struggling like the Buccaneers right now? And even so, they still have a chance in Week 18. You had a lot of meaningless games go on yesterday. A lot of meaningless games go on Christmas Day. I feel like they tried to make the games on Saturday, the 27th, somewhat meaningful. And I didn't get a chance to watch the Ravens-Packers game. I was traveling, and I guess it was on Amazon or something, because I thought to myself, oh, cool. You know, I got this long flight from Miami to Phoenix. Oh, I'm just going to hop on the American Airlines live TV thing. I'm surely it'll be on NBC, you know, Sunday Night Football, something. I didn't think that it would be, I guess it was an Amazon thing. That's typically what I assume when I can't get a ball game, whether a ball game's not on in a bar. I witnessed that week before last. Was expecting to see the Rams-Seahawks games on when I was out in Lexington, Kentucky at the bars. Didn't happen. Amazon. So I'd imagine that the Packers-Ravens game was also on Amazon. Could be wrong, but I definitely wasn't getting it on my plane through American Airlines. And I don't want to say, you know, the Browns, they beat the Steelers. I was focused on the Bengals game, even though it was completely meaningless. Call me a diehard. The Bengals and Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow, these guys look like Belichick and Brady when there's nothing to play for. I don't know what to make of it. You got the last 2 weeks. Last week against Miami, Burrow statistically, or at least in terms of QB rating, played the best game of his career against the Dolphins. And then he plays pretty similarly well, or comparably well, in this game against Arizona. I didn't even need to watch the whole thing. I stayed focused on it. But you had Cody Ford, who is the backup right tackle for Cincinnati. Troubled past, not off the field. He just isn't that good, in my opinion. with the Bengals. A lot of people complaining about him, and there have been times where he's been absolutely terrible. That guy gets himself a 21-yard reception yesterday. They line him up out wide. These guys are getting cute, Zach Taylor and the boys. And I pray to God that the front office for the Bengals, and I think, man, this is really still very raw material. But is there a world where the Bengals front office sees these last 3 games with nothing to play for against backup quarterbacks like Quinn Ewers, Jacoby Brissett, Shadur Sanders? Those are the Bengals' last 3 games of the year. They played great against Miami. Joe Burrow, best game of his career. The defense played better. And the defense had a terrible play. Disgusting play. I think number 14 for the Cardinals, the receiver Michael Wilson, scored a touchdown on the Bengals yesterday. He was cornered on the sideline around the 10-yard line with the ball by Geno Stone and Barrett Carter, and somehow makes it away from both of them and the sideline and scores a touchdown. It was the most sorry, disgusting, blasphemous to the game play I've seen since the same Bengals organization played Le'Veon Bell and the Steelers years ago. Had him cornered on the sideline, and I don't even think it was Le'Veon Bell or Michael Wilson that found a way to score. It was the defensive guys in stripes that said, I'll just try and bump him out of bounds. I don't have to be that physical. I don't have to wrap up. It is literally the antithesis to what I believe in, the way I believe you should play football, by my very own team, time and time again. It was disgusting. It was inexcusable. Bengals come out with the win, 37-14. They go to 6-10 and have a date with the Browns, a meaningless date with the Browns in Week 18. Ravens and Steelers will play for the AFC North championship this Sunday. A lot of people thought the Ravens would be completely out of it. I thought, I can't watch the Packers-Ravens game because I'm on a plane. What's the harm in that? It's going to be Malik Willis versus Tyler Huntley. Talked about a lot on the internet once I landed. The game was talked about a lot. Apparently Malik Willis balled. I haven't quite been the poster boy for Malik Willis believership, but apparently the guy absolutely balled. We got fans on Twitter talking about how they want their struggling team to make Malik Willis their quarterback. That's how well it sounds like Malik Willis played. But that being said, the Ravens end up on top. There was some wacky stat where, the wacky stat for the Ravens-Packers game was that the Packers did not punt all game against the Ravens. And the Packers this season are 0-3 in games where they didn't punt. It's very strange. But the Ravens win a game that maybe some people thought they wouldn't win against the Packers, and the Steelers lose a game that everybody thought they should win against the Cleveland Browns. They lose 13-6, and you got Myles Garrett making comments after the game saying that he felt like Pittsburgh was more worried about keeping him from getting the NFL single-season sack record than they were actually winning the game. That's a pretty subjective statement, but Myles Garrett said it out of his own mouth. It's pretty good shit talking either way. Could be true.
And in that case, it's good shit talking. And if it's not true, it's still good shit talking. You know what I mean? I don't really know how you could gauge that. I don't really know how you can make a judgment on that. But if anybody's going to make a judgment on whether the Steelers wanted to keep Myles Garrett from getting his record or win the game, it would probably be Myles Garrett. You know? And then we got the title and the thumbnail. The 49ers played a hell of a game against the Chicago Bears. I thought the Chicago Bears played pretty well. I got to know Luther Burden as the night went on. An interesting statistic that I heard about Luther Burden, number 10 for Chicago, is that he's in the top 5 receivers in the league in terms of production when he's on the field. What does that mean? That means that every single route that Luther Burden, number 10 for the Bears, runs, he gets about 3.27 yards per route that he runs. Think about that. In terms of that metric, he's top 5 in the league. I don't know who the other 4 guys were. But I was introduced to Luther Burden last night. Listen, both of these defenses struggled mightily. San Francisco's defense looks like they really need Fred Warner, and I'm hearing from other podcasts, other football media shows, publications, that there is a chance that Fred Warner could come back this season. I don't know anything else about it beyond that. And San Francisco, if they're able to beat Seattle this week in Week 18, controls their own destiny to play in their own building as long as they want to play. Super Bowl, I don't know what the Super Bowl number that is this year, but the Super Bowl is in San Francisco. Number 1 seed, you get a bye first round, and then you get home field the rest of the way. That's in San Francisco's hands after getting this win last night. Chicago had a chance to get the number 1 seed. How crazy is that? They no longer have a chance. But you got teams in the AFC like Jacksonville who still have a chance to get the number 1 seed. And Chris Collinsworth talked about it last night on Sunday Night Football, and he said that this is the only season that we can remember where there's no clear-cut team favored to win the Super Bowl. Every single team in the playoff field has flaws. Every single one. We saw 2 great teams face off last night, Chicago, San Francisco. It's a wonder what Ben Johnson's done with the Chicago Bears, who have largely been an inept organization for the last decade or longer. But both defenses on the field struggled. San Francisco, even with George Kittle being out, and I believe a few other pieces on offense being out, Christian McCaffrey completely ridden down to the nub. Even with the injury issues that the 49ers seem to perennially have, they produced like 550 yards of offense last night. I thought Caleb Williams played really well up until that last snap. The Bears had a chance to win late in the game, even though they made a few mistakes, in my opinion. Chicago Bears had a chance to win the game on the last play. We didn't even talk about the Bills-Eagles game and how the Bills, seemingly with no offensive momentum the whole game, still found a way to be in it on the last play in driving Buffalo rain. It's been warm everywhere the last really 9-10 days. Cincinnati was warm yesterday. Buffalo was warm for Buffalo. I think it was like 36, 38 degrees, but with driving rain. And the Eagles, they grab their testicles and they go in and they get a win against one of the hotter teams in football, in my opinion, in the Buffalo Bills. I don't think the Bills should have gone for 2. But even so,
maybe I should eat my words because Khalil Shakir was open in the back of the end zone. He ran him a little long pivot route, and he had about 3 or 4 yards of separation to the closest DB. Josh Allen, arguably the best player in ball right now, just misses him. And the Bills lose 13-12. Weird game. I left the house to go grocery shopping when the Eagles were up 13-0, and I knew in my gills, knew it in my gut. I was like, yeah, the Bills are going to find a way to get back in this thing. Sure enough. When I got back from the grocery store was exactly when they were running that 2-point play. I don't think the Bills should have gone for 2. I think they should have kicked the extra point and tried to ride out that momentum they seemed to have late in the game into overtime, but they didn't see it that way. And again, Khalil Shakir was wide open. 4 yards of separation he had on that 2-point conversion. Just a little pivot route, simple. And Josh, I think he was pretty stationary. Maybe he was rolling left. I can't remember. But just misses him. Best player in ball right now, arguably. Game on the line, just misses him. This is what I'm talking about when I say all these teams have flaws in the NFL playoff field. All of them. It makes me sick to my stomach being a Bengals fan. Sick to my stomach. This could have been the year, Bengals, for you guys. This could have been the year you popped that cherry for Mr. Burrow. But instead we just get thirst trap Instagram posts from Mr. Joey B himself with his luscious long hair that he's got. That's all we get, you know. I'm not saying it ain't tough. Pretty tough, you know. But we'll continue to keep you guys advised here. Day in, day out. Should have a show coming to you on New Year's Eve. Should have a show coming to you on New Year's Day. I'm thinking about going to the Rose Bowl in L.A. I've got a hotel credit I need to use before the end of the year. And I'm thinking about just booking a hotel in Pasadena. Bama made me, $400 in that game they played against Oklahoma. So I thought maybe I'd give it back to Bama and buy a Rose Bowl ticket with that money and a free hotel. Go down there and watch that Bama-Indiana game. So if we do that, probably won't be a show on New Year's Day. But if we don't do that, we'll be here doing a show. It's a win-win either way. But, it should be relatively normal schedule this week. We'll be live Monday through Friday. Rose Bowl aside, I will let you guys know if I decide to go down to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl. And I don't know if I have anything else today. Quick little show. Again, popped on late. Just, we run on me, baby. Run on me time. You know what I'm saying? Colts completely collapsed. That's another one that we didn't get to talk about. But the Jaguars, man, they just keep finding ways. Colts looked like they were going to play spoiler early and just completely collapsed. I don't think I've ever seen an organization collapse quite like the Colts did this season after the start that they had. It's really sad. I wanted to see them do well. They're kind of my second string team behind the Bengals because I used to work for them and end up having neither team in the playoffs. So I'll be completely neutral in most of these playoff games. It's kind of sad. I want to add some vigor to this. I want to add a little bit of feeling to it. Maybe start gambling my life savings on some of these games. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's a good time. This seems like a good segue to head out, guys. We'll be back tomorrow with the show. Of course, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We come at you guys every weekday with live shows talking about the latest football happenings. I got to update the audio platforms, but if you want to listen to the show, you could do that as well. The main prerogative, though, is to subscribe on YouTube. Really appreciate you guys popping in. If you want shorts, go to our Instagram, In the Jar Clips. My Instagram, Clark Dupree. TikTok, Clark Dupree. But most importantly, subscribe to the channel on YouTube to get access
to full live shows, football shows, every single day. That's how much I love you guys. That's how much I love doing this. We will not stop. We cannot stop. So hit that subscribe button before I jump through the screen. Doesn't cost anything. Takes no effort. Hit the button. Double tap the screen. Bare minimum, damn it. Law. All right. I'm going to go to jiu-jitsu, guys, but I love you. I appreciate you. And we will be back tomorrow on In the Jar. Peace.